Hey everybody, it is Liz with Liz Art Finds, and we are here today with haul number 60. And it was a good week. I had the opportunity to go to some of my normal spots, and it paid off. So it's nice to be back home, and it was a good week. I mean, I don't have a ton of stuff, but I have some nice stuff. So before we get into what I found this week, a couple announcements. Well, I'm going to do my solds, and then I actually have another live show. And if you're seeing this on Sunday morning, which is hopefully when you're seeing this, I have a live show Sunday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern over on Niknax. I will put the link in the description below. Came up kind of out of nowhere, and it's a glass gallery show. So I'm going to be showing some of my nicer glass. I'm kind of excited. So hopefully that will go well. And I will let you know what sold next week. But for now, what sold this week, and it was actually an interesting little week. I had 3 sales over on eBay and 3 sales on Niknax from the Buy It Now, which I guess now things have been there for a little bit and things are churning and we're starting to get some traction, which is really exciting. So the first thing that sold over on Niknax, I sold this alabaster trinket box. I originally had found it for $4.99 and it sold for $18. That was made in Italy. It was really, really nice piece. I sold my little Fenton cranberry pitcher that I just picked up a few weeks ago. I had paid $2.09 for it. It sold for $15, and that person got a really good deal. So that was a fun little one. My Spode candlesticks. This was over on eBay. A lady bought them as a gift for her daughter. I had paid $3.98 for these, and they sold for $26. That was good. This beautiful Williams-Sonoma cutting board with Santa and little knife. I had found that a while ago for only $4, and it sold for $45 on eBay. And that was actually after Christmas. It was like right after Christmas. So that was exciting. Actually, it was New Year's Eve, I think, that it sold. Yeah, 12/31. Anyway, that was exciting. Back on Niknax, my Barbini Murano bowl. I had paid $1.40 for it as part of an auction lot way back when. That sold for $31.50. And then the last one just sold on eBay. I had this little cat mug with all these cute little cat faces. That one was listed for a year. It went up like February of last year. I got it for 99 cents. It sold for $10.99. So that was a fun little week of solds. Really unexpected, actually. So that was exciting. So okay, let's get into this week because it was a good one. So I went out 28, 30, 2 days, only 2 days for this particular video. And the first place I went, I got 3 things and it was all glass. It was so exciting to go back in there, and I must be the only person buying art glass in this particular thrift store because every time I go in, there's some good stuff. So I'll do the best piece last of the 3 pieces that I got there. So the first thing I picked up was this little orange and yellow fused glass bowl. Now this is something that was probably made by a student of fused glass. And I say that just because I've done fused glass classes, and this is a very typical shape. You create it first flat, and then they slump it onto a mold to create the shape. It's really well done. There's no issues, but it's not signed anywhere. Anyway, I paid $1.99. Could be worth $8 to $12. This will be in my glass sale today, because this is Sunday that you're seeing this. So today, over on Niknax, niknax.net, I'll have the link to my specific show, like I said, down below. So anyway, $1.99. Then I found this really fun Mexican glass, kind of like a brandy stiffener. It's kind of chartreusey in color. Well, it is chartreusey, not kind of. It's really cool. This is definitely Mexican glass. At least it looks to me like it is Mexican glass. To me, it has a very the Mexican glass pieces have a very specific look to them. I could be wrong, but that's how I'm interpreting this piece right now. I paid $2.99 for it. Again, this will be 8 to 12. This is not going to be a huge seller. And I'm just now noticing there's a little chip on the bottom. So it's normally it would be 8 to 12. I would probably start this at $1 at an auction to get my auction going. So probably not a huge moneymaker on this one, especially since it's got a chip that I didn't notice. Now, I'm going to show you something amazing. This piece, oh my gosh, it's amazing. And it's so much fun to find amazing pieces. Now, I'm going to take these little glass pieces out so y'all can see it, but it's basically a bunch of little votive holders. Now, the votives were not made by the artist. They were added in the little indentations. But this is an amazing piece of fused glass. All right, this is art glass. It is signed. The artist is Jennifer Welch. It's signed right there. She is currently based in Hawaii. And I will read you some stuff about Jennifer and show you some stuff about Jennifer. But this is amazing. Now, I have reached out to her to learn more about the piece, how old it is, you know, when it was made. If these little inserts here were included or sold with the piece, or if it was sold like this and someone added them after, I'm not really sure. So I just want to gather some more information on the piece. It's 15 inches long, it's 6 inches wide, it's 1.5 inches tall. I measured it when I reached out to her earlier today. So hopefully I'll hear back and learn a little bit more about it, and I will let you know if I do. If I don't hear back, I'm probably going to call her because she is a, hang on, I'm going to put this back down. She is an artist in Hawaii now, and she teaches classes as well. Some of her studio pieces are just unbelievably beautiful. She lives in Honolulu, Hawaii. They originally, I think, are from Chicago. This is Jennifer. Now this picture is, I believe, about 10 years old. So she is a glass artist living in Honolulu, and this is on her website. She says, I create fused glass, stained glass, etched glass, as well as teach classes at the resident artist at Calvary by the Sea Lutheran Church in Honolulu. My original glass artwork is inspired by the beauty of the Hawaiian Islands. So she was born in the Chicago area, took tons and tons of classes, art classes when she was younger. Her father was an artist, her mom was a teacher. So she grew up surrounded by art and artists and just loved it, and learned drawing and design and painting and silk screening and so many different things. And so her bachelor's degree was in fine arts and a master's in educational leadership. Wow. And then she started fused glass about 15 years ago. And this was, I think the article was 10 years old. So it would have been about 25 years ago or so. It says her style is eclectic, ranging from bowls and platters to full-size fused glass paintings. Imagine that. So for fun, she creates jewelry, small vessels, and holiday ornaments. They moved to the Hawaiian Islands in 2012, and she's inspired by the beauty of the islands, etc., etc. And it says she teaches workshops on fused glass, stained glass, and mosaic in Hawaii. So if you're heading to Hawaii, look her up. Her name is Jennifer Welch. I am going to try to connect with her, and we'll let you know what happens with that. But that piece is amazing, right? So I paid $6.99 for that amazing piece of art glass. And I can't really price it yet because pieces like it, 65 to 235, like, it depends who the artist is, it depends on the size, it depends on the buyer. That particular piece is gorgeous. I think if I were to put it on eBay, I'd probably start it, I'd probably start it around 125, and if there was no interest, I'd probably drop it. I think it'll probably sell in the 65 to 85 range. I'm not really sure. It's just a guess. I don't have, I don't have familiarity with it. Some of her other pieces have sold in the hundreds, so it could be worth a lot. And I look forward to hearing from her and finding out like how much it originally sold for. That would be such a great piece of information. So anyway, that was that trip, and that was so much fun. Then I went to another place, and whereas this last place was all glass, the one I went to next was mostly ceramics. So I found a ceramic pottery mug, and this one is gorgeous. Okay, it's signed Hoffman. And there's another one very similar to it online with attribution to David and Sherry Hoffman. This all sounded familiar when I was doing some research, so I think I have another Hoffman piece somewhere in one of my totes. So it's interesting because the solds again are all over the place. So one just sold, very, very similar to this, maybe a little bit taller and not as like bowed here, but same glaze pattern or glaze style. I don't know about this spot, but like this kind of look is very, very similar. And one sold recently for $47, like just last month. However, if you look like the next line down on WorthPoint is a set of 4, similar to this, sold for $19.50. You just never know, right? You just never know. So I think it's a gorgeous piece. I think I can get 24 to 32 for it. I think that 47 number is probably a little on the high side, but it's a really nice mug. It's got a great thumb rest. I think it's probably about 12 ounces. I will check that before I list it. But if you're interested in this piece, just shoot me a message because it'll probably be a bit before I start listing my pottery. I want to get through a few other sections of things first. But anyway, that was a fun one. I paid $2.99 for it. You know, like I said, 20, I think I said 24, something like that, 20 something. But I think that will do well. It's a beautiful, beautiful piece. And then I found an amazing bowl. Amazing bowl. I mean, the glaze work is cool. Like really, really cool. It's a lot of layers and a lot of interesting visuals. And then the inside is also cool. It is signed. I haven't yet identified the potter on this yet. I have to send this into the Pottery ID group and see if we can get this figured out. I paid $4.99 for this piece. I think the minimum on it would be $35. I've sold things like this in the 60s before. So yeah, somewhere in the 35 to 85 range on this piece. And I think once we figure out who the artist is, I think that will help figure out a little better what the price point should be on that. And then the third piece that I found there was a tile, and this one is mass-produced-ish. It's not signed. It's got, I think I had something like this earlier. There was a sticker there that's not there anymore. But so it stands up. It's got this fun little thing at the back that allows it to stand. It's also got its little hanger things you can hang it. And it's really pretty. And it was, and I didn't write it down. I identified who it was by, and the solds on those, one just sold for $22.49, pretty much the exact tile, and I paid $2.99 for it. So, you know, I guess I would say 18 to 24 on this one. It's a good size. It's a really pretty piece, and it's in excellent condition. There's no chips, there's no dings. There was another one that was even more colorful, but it had a big chip out of it, so I had to leave it. So that was that day. Oh no, I went to one more place that day. One more place. And this one is where I found most things, or many things. I'm going to start with the Peggy Carr. So I found a Peggy Carr. And this is a really interesting Peggy Carr. So they had a design called Pansies that was all over pansies, basically in this same color palette. And it was really, really, really popular. And then in 1998, they decided they wanted to, since that color palette was so popular, they wanted to try something similar. So they did this one, they called it Bouquet. It's a beautiful vase with flowers. The artist on it, I believe, is David Switzer. It was one of her artists. Peggy Carr stuff, I think I've told you guys this before, they signed them different ways. It's always signed right in this area, basically on the plate. And it always has either PCAR or PKG for Peggy Carr glass. And I can't remember what year they started adding the artist's signatures after the PKG. So this has the DTS for David T. Switzer after the PKG on it. Anyway, let me get back to my story. So this did not sell very well. They couldn't understand why this design, even though it was the same colors as the pansies, didn't sell as well as the pansies. So I think just because perhaps people liked pansies better? I don't know. There's no explanation. However, this is a limited run. So they only made these between 1998 and 2000. And the number they made in each size was between 500 and 1,000. And that's all in the whole entire world. There's only 500 to 1,000 of these. So this is a more rare piece. You know, it's not one of those that are a dime a dozen that you find every time you go out. So it's an interesting conundrum, right? Does it sell for a lot of money because it's limited, or because people didn't love it so much back then, maybe it's not that popular, right? So I don't know. It's one of the bigger ones. I can't remember. I do have my ruler here. It is a 14-inch plate. So that they measured the glass, a little aside on Peggy Carr, they measured the size of the glass before it was fired and before it was slumped. So the actual finished size of the pieces is slightly different than the listed size. So this is actually like 13.5 inches, but it would be what they considered a 14-inch plate. But it's actually 13.5, if that makes sense, because it shrinks a little, and then when they mold it, right, so this is molded into a little bit of a bowl type shape, even though it's a plate. So that takes some of the size out of it. So anyway, just a little tidbit on the Peggy Carr. I have the Peggy Carr book. It's actually sitting right here. And so it is one of the things I know more about than some of the other houses. And since I did mention that, here is the bouquet. It was a 1998 design, made for 2 years, and again, limited run. So that was kind of fun to find. It was just sitting, this was actually at Savers. It was just sitting on the shelf, and the shelves were pretty sparse, but I hadn't been there in a couple weeks, and or a week and a half or something like that. And that was just sitting there. So I was excited. I was really excited actually to find that. Then I found this really interesting paperweight. This is not glass, it's acrylic. It's not lucite, it does not glow. It is some sort of acrylic. It's a quail type bird encased in acrylic, I believe. Really kind of fun. It's missing one of its little feet down here. So it does wobble a little bit. I'm gonna have to try to find something like it to stick on there. But anyway, or just disclose that it only has 3 feet. It's really cool, right? I thought it was so cool. I'd never seen anything quite like that before. And it's so clear and it's in really good condition. I paid $5.59, which is a little much. And I never talked about the Peggy Carr. I also paid $5.59 for the Peggy Carr, and that size sells 35 to 70, and we'll just kind of have to see where in that range it'll fall. It might be a little less, but some of the bigger plates do sell pretty well. This guy, $5.59, I think he's probably 12 to 18. I don't think he's worth more than that. There are some solds. There was a 10, there was a 12, there was a 14, there were actually a few solds. There was like an 18. There was one that was in the high 20s. So, 12 to 18 is kind of the middle of the range of where this guy sells. So kind of fun. You know, $5.59 is probably too much to pay if something's going to sell for, you know, 12 to 18. But for the purposes of this video and the fact that I'm collecting paperweights, I thought it was worth picking up. So then I found an enigma. This is another mystery that's not really a mystery anymore. I solved it. It was a plate, or it is a plate, and I just thought the design on it was beautiful. It's Royal Crown Devon Rose 2048. Okay. But it's got, you see this? It's got these cutouts on the side, and I was completely baffled. I paid $2.39 for it, and I figured for that I would take it home and do a little research and try to figure it out. What I found was this is an underplate. There was a pitcher that went in this. And so that would kind of explain a little bit to me anyway, the holes, you know, because like for aeration, so it doesn't get all condensation while there's a pitcher sitting in it. That makes more sense because otherwise as a plate or a bowl, obviously you're not going to have your soup in a bowl like this. Anyway, it's late. Sorry, I'm recording this late at night because I told you I have an event this weekend I'm going to. So anyway, yeah, underplate. I paid $2.39 for it. The whole set with the pitcher just recently sold for $26.60 on Etsy. So this might be what, 5 to 8 on a good day. If someone is looking for the underplate, if they broke theirs and they still have their pitcher, that would be a good thing. Or if you just want to use it as a trinket dish, it's very pretty. And because of the chintz pattern, because of the design, you really can't see those holes from the top. You know, they really blend into the pattern. You can see them from the bottom, but not so much from the top. So anyway, I did pick it up. I can probably, I mean, I think I can probably double what I paid on it. Maybe more. We'll just kind of have to see how that goes and where I decide to sell it. The next piece I found this ceramic wind chime. Okay. And it's a teddy bear with a heart cut out and a nose and eyes. Nope. Yep. Eyes, ears cut out for the little holder thing. It's a really nice wind chime. So the reason I picked it up, and it was only $3.99. The reason I picked it up was because it reminded me of the pieces from Jane Avery. I don't know if you guys remember, we have the butter dish with the lace and then also like blue glaze. And then we had found that wine glass that sold that also had the lace impression in the clay. And so I saw the lace impression. I'm like, oh, I wonder if that's Jane. So I reached out to her. She's wonderful. Answered back right away that no, she never did wind chimes because she was afraid that in a strong wind they would break because it's clay, right? And it's thin. So she said she left that to other potters, and this is not her work. So I don't know who made it. There's no signature on here. There's no, what do you call it? Like a mark or anything. Stamp, that was the word I was looking for. There's no stamp on here. I did see one online that was a pig. That's basically the exact same thing with the little hearts hanging down and a little heart cut out. So there is an artist out there that's making these, or made these. I don't know who it might be. So I paid $3.99 for it. I would say probably 12 to 18 on this, maybe only 8 to 12, but because it is studio pottery, because it's so unique, it might go up in the 12 to 18 range. Okay. So yes, and it was fun to reach out to someone who I'd already, you know, I already knew a little bit about. Okay, and then just one more stop. That was in 2 days later. I went out, just a quick stop on my way to somewhere else. Can't even remember what errand I was running, but there was somewhere nearby. I just popped in, and I just picked up two things. I picked up this Tonala Nope. Talavera, I always get them confused. Talavera pottery, and I know they're completely different. Talavera is the beautiful, painted, colorful Mexican pottery, and Tonala is more toned down, the Ken Edwards, birds, and it's a very specific look. This is Talavera pottery. It's kind of fun, right? It's a little bull, kind of a skull, meant to hang. It's got a Mexico marking on it. It would hang on the wall as decor. Really cute. I paid $3.99 for him, and they've sold in the 12 to 24 range. There's quite a few solds on this one, so that was kind of fun. I do want to try to spend a little more time cleaning it. It's got a little bit of, still a little dirty on the top here. But that was a fun little find. And then the only other piece I found is a beautiful, another piece of pottery. And this one I also don't know the artist yet. This one was $3.99. I would say 18 to 24 plus. Like, some of these things sell for a lot more. The work on this is just so pretty. I'm going to take the top off for a second. So it's just a really pretty piece. The signature is not a signature so much as a stamp, and it looks like it says GP. Or GTP actually, or GTD or something like that. I need to send this in. I checked the Marks Project. I did not find that exact mark. So I want to reach out to the pottery group again when I have a couple minutes. The top on this is so pretty. It's just so well done. It's a really, really pretty piece. And it's not huge, so it shouldn't be too hard to ship. Some of the pieces I find are really big. So this is a nice piece. And yeah, I just wrote 18 to 24, some higher. So, for $4, $3.99, that was worth a pickup to me. And I will learn another potter. Hopefully someone will know and can help me identify who made this pretty piece. So that was my finds for this week. Oh no, there's one more. There's one more. I don't even know if I should show you all this. This is it's a gourd with a, a beaded jacket, right? It's really pretty, and I picked it up because I'd never seen anything like it. I thought at first it might be a shaker, but it really doesn't shake all that much. There's a couple online that are listed, but none that I saw that are sold. So I paid $3.99 for it, which was probably too much. The list, because I was kind of thrown off a little bit by the listings. So the listings are anywhere from 28 to 65, and people are listing it as vintage. I am not convinced. I'm not convinced that it is really old, although some of the knots, like you can see, there's a couple of places where the string comes together, and some of the string looks pretty old. I don't know. I have absolutely no idea. So I'm gonna say 12 to 18 or 8 to 12. Yeah, I think just the work and the beading, even if it is recent, I mean, that takes some time, and that is hand worked. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. There's not a ton sold like this. I checked Worth Point, and there were a couple similar but different. Nothing like this that I saw in the solds. So it's a mystery, and it's strange to end on that, and I apologize for that. So we'll go back to the pretty Peggy Carr. The other one, the beautiful Jennifer Welch piece, is just too, because it's got those 4 things in it, I can't keep moving it around. Anyway, my total spend this week was $52.47. I think reasonably, we're looking at $256, maybe more. I mean, that one piece could potentially go for $250 or more. The candle piece from Jennifer Welch. So it's a very, very, very conservative estimate of $256. So that would be like 5 times my investment on that. Yeah, and that's all for this week. And I just want to remind you one more time, tonight, this afternoon, 4:30 p.m. on Niknax.net, I will be selling some of my glass. There were a few pieces that I showed back in December that didn't sell, and then also some of the pieces that I picked up recently, we've talked about, will be in that sale, along with this beautiful, beautiful Glass Eye Studio bowl, one of my favorite pieces, and a few other favorite pieces. It's going to be a fun one. Have a great week, everybody. I'm excited because next week I don't have a lot of crazy things on my schedule, so I'm hoping to get out a bunch. And I know this time of year is a really fun time to thrift because end of year, lots and lots of people were donating to get their tax deduction at the end of the year. So it's a really, really fun time to shop. And I'm excited to see what I find. And I think that's all for this week. Have a wonderful, wonderful week, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye.